Now turn up.
What up is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. We have a video here. The most important position on your team is a handcuff. No, I'm just kidding. It's not the most important position, but it is the most important position when your starter gets hurt. That is what that's what happens. If you're a Christian McCaffrey owner of last year, you know what happened when he got hurt. Mike Davis stepped in, was, you could say, amazing for being a replacement there. And if you did not have Mike Davis, you had to trade a lot to get him. There was some leagues he was actually traded for a first-round pick because that team desperately needed a running back. I've seen him traded a lot of seconds. There was a lot of times seconds or even younger running backs that maybe had a little bit more upside long-term for Mike Davis. I mean, when people get desperate and they're like they lose Christian McCaffrey, they think, man, McCaffrey's out for another 6 weeks or 8 weeks. I need that fill-in player. They are desperate times call for desperate measures. We are going to go through three handcuffs, and then I'm going to be going through some maybe guys that are not handcuffs that are still valuable, and then some guys that are deeper handcuffs. So we're going to be going through a lot of players here. But if you're new to the channel, we're going to be giving away a Jerry Jeudy signed jersey. We are almost 90% of the way there because when we hit 1K, we're going to be giving it away to one of you subscribers. That's again, all you have to do, subscribe, maybe hit the like button or that little alert thing, and we'll be good to go. The first guy we're going to go through is Gus Edwards. And so Gus Edwards, why I consider him as a backup is he is in a clear backup role. He's never been a starter. He's been, I should say never been a starter. He started 13 games in 3 years. So not really a starter. We look at literally his statistics of last year. They're very close to his averages, but 144, 723, and 6. If you get that from a handcuff / backup, like that is a really good kind of flex consideration. I think if J.K. Dobbins has any injury concerns or if he does not perform well, I think that Gus Edwards can definitely sneak in there. This team runs the most of any team. I think Lamar's a big part of that. Gus Edwards is a very valuable piece for a J.K. Dobbins owner. I am rather having Gus Edwards than a second-round pick because Gus Edwards can give you that kind of safety. I think I've talked about Dave Ramsey before. The first thing you do is put $1,000 in the bank. Baby step one. The first thing you do, not the first thing, but if you're in a contender, one of the big things you do is you make sure you shore up these cheaper options so that if J.K. Dobbins goes down, or the Christian McCaffreys go down, or the Camaras go down, or whoever goes down, Mixon goes down, like you have a chance of having a backup on there. That is like baby step number one. Baby step number one of being a contender, make sure you have depth. Either at those positions to make sure that I prefer, like in redraft, it's not so much, but in Dynasty, I think it's super important. Gus Edwards, if you're a J.K. Dobbins owner, like I am hunting for Gus Edwards. I am finding times to strike. And especially right around rookie drafts, those are times to strike because people go, ooh, that second round pick, I like this person, I like this person, I like this person. And I'm sitting there going, I just need Gus Edwards. I need Gus Edwards. And sometimes you have to not do it desperately, but you know what I mean. So his averages, though, 138, 717, and 3 touchdowns. You're not getting, again, probably a starting season out of him. But if J.K. Dobbins has any issues, Gus Edwards would be the clear-cut starter of that team. And so that is something that you want out of a handcuff. Number 2 is going to be A.J. Dillon. And A.J. Dillon had week 16 in the snow, we call it. He had 21 carries, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The same situation, the same reason why A.J. Dillon is an important handcuff is because he will be the clear and cut starter if Aaron Jones is hurt. And so that's why if you're an Aaron Jones owner, you are looking at A.J. Dillon, and he's going to be more of an expensive one because Gus Edwards came with very little draft capital. And what I mean by very little draft capital, he wasn't drafted last year in the end of first, early second. And I saw A.J. Dillon drafted a lot of times, even ahead of like Antonio Gibson last year, which I didn't think made sense unless they got rid of Aaron Jones, which they didn't. They got rid of Jamal Williams, which we kind of knew that Jamal Williams was already headed out the door. Anyways, A.J. Dillon, we expected him to be better. Have better things, be a starter. I think he's going to be into this kind of Jamal Williams role. He's not going to be even probably flex worthy. But if Aaron Jones has any issues of A.J. Dillon could easily be the touchdown back too. You could have an ugly season where you're looking at 600 yards and 10 touchdowns out of A.J. Dillon, and him not really being fantasy relevant. But you could also see, if Aaron Jones gets hurt, you could see A.J. Dillon all of a sudden turning into this kind of like Jonathan Taylor type production on the ground, because A.J. Dillon is awesome on the ground. Not super great on receiving, but A.J. Dillon has the ability. I mean, just look at the guy. I mean, he looks the part at least. Number 3 is going to be, like I said, Jamal Williams. I said Jamal Williams left. Of course, Jamal Williams went to Detroit. And the same reasons why I think a lot of people are having issues with Swift and Dobbins. I think Swift and Dobbins are awesome. I do think there is chances that they get hurt or they have issues at their clubs. And most of the time it's hurt. I mean, you're sophomore running back, you're putting more tread on the tire, you're having a full season of being out there. And so you have to look at, well, who are the clear and cut starters behind them? Because a lot of teams have like 2, 3, 4. Like if Cincinnati, if Joe Mixon goes down, who's going to be the starter? We have no idea. And will that starter even be valuable? Probably not. So a lot of these teams, either that or you have a guy, spoiler, like Kenyon Drake, who may not even be a handcuff. He might even be somebody that is fantasy football, like, that he might produce on that next level. But anyways, Jamal Williams, why I'm not scared of him being a contributor, a threat to DeAndre Swift, is his career averages are 125, 496, and 2.5 touchdowns, and 30 receptions, 290 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So really a good backup role. Jamal Williams will easily be the starter if DeAndre Swift gets hurt. And that is the big key. That's why these handcuffs are pretty much in. How many running backs made it every single game? I think there was like one. It might have been Derrick Henry. I think it was only Derrick Henry. So when you get these sophomore running backs that are going from basically a half a season of production to now going into a full season production, will they get hurt? Can they withstand 16, 17 games now? So that's going to be a big thing. 2 guys that I'm going to talk about here now, we're going to switch into super handcuffs, I guess you could say, is Kareem Hunt and Kenyon Drake. These are guys, of course, that are going to cost a lot more. Kareem Hunt especially is going to cost a lot. And so these guys, of course, I just want to make sure people aren't going, well, Kareem Hunt and Kenyon Drake are the most important, I guess you could say, handcuffs. They are important. They are very important, but they are almost not even handcuffs, because there's threat that Kenyon Drake could be the starter, or he could take a bunch of time away from Josh Jacobs to the point where they both are kind of neutralized. I mean, Kenyon Drake is a talented player, and Josh Jacobs has that DUI suspension. Might be 2 games. I don't know exactly. I should have to look at that. No, I don't know, but I should look at the legal situation going on there. Before we get into the 2 super deep sleepers, I do want to mention that Patreon, right now we do have a couple supporters. I think if it ends up being all that we have, just let's say 10 supporters or 12 supporters, whatever it is, by the time a month comes along, I think a month is what we're going to be shooting for, and that is when we're going to do Dynasty Football Dads League. And then whoever signs up at that point, we will have the whether it's the first 10 or whatever it might be. I think we're going to probably end up being the first 10 that end up contributing will be a part of the first Dynasty Dads League. And I'll have some sort of maybe prize at the end. Maybe it'll be, I don't know, something. I got to figure out the prize yet. Something at least $100 worth. Jersey, something. Maybe I'll even pull the league of what their idea of what they want for a reward for winning the league, unless I win the league. So so that's on Patreon. Link is in the comment section below. If you have any questions, let me know. There's $1 supporting too, so every $1 helps. Hey, yeah, and plus you might win. You might win some stuff on Patreon too, because we're gonna be doing more and more giveaways. The 2 deep sleepers, we're gonna first go with Jerick McKinnon. I talked about it with the CH video. I think Jerick McKinnon is a super cheap flyer, and I think that he easily could be, he's 29, could be the back, like if CH, again, sophomore running back, I mean, you get the kind of gist. If he gets hurt, you probably know who the starter is going to be. It's going to be Jerick McKinnon, or at least likely going to be Jerick McKinnon following into that role. And will we know if he stay healthy? That's a big question mark. But Jerick McKinnon, again, a super cheap guy at this point, probably a 3rd round pick, gets Jerick McKinnon, and you can just, again, have a safety net for CEH just in case he gets hurt. The next one, and his price fluctuates all over the place. But it is going to be Rashad Penny, and this is not for a sophomore running back, shocker. But Chris Carson is super injury prone. Rashad Penny is, of course, coming off of ACL injury and still has not found himself. But I loved Rashad Penny. I shouldn't say love. I liked him coming out of San Diego State. First round pick, 27th overall, Seattle. Like, he has all the kind of analytics that say he should have been good. The ACL, oh, that was so sad. Man, I owned him too. I traded for Rashad Penny sophomore year because I was like, I think it was sophomore year. Whatever. I traded for him because I was like, man, he's got some great upside. And he was looking actually decent on the field. I thought he looked better than Carson at that time. And then tore that ACL, and I was like, oh, I knew it right when it happened too. I was like, yeah, he went down this ACL. That's why when you have a medical background and you see that, you're like, oh, you just know, you know. In fact, I thought DJ Moore did the same thing. I believe it was against the Vikings, and I was like, no, my Dynasty wide receiver. I mean, that's the problem with being in so many leagues. This is gonna be sidebar from Rashad Penny, but any injury that happens, you're like, there's somebody like, oh wait, that might help me against this league or whatever like that. And then there's always just like, well, there goes my Dynasty team. I think my Dynasty team had like 18 million injuries last year. Oh, so yeah, that was frustrating, including Dak Prescott, and it was like Prescott, Godwin, Mixon, Eckler, David Johnson. Who else? A lot of players got hurt. Anyways, Rashad Penny. You made it this far, and I'm surprised. And just comment #Skull. Rashad Penny is just a deep guy. Again, has some of the pedigree, a cheap safety net. And with Chris Carson, you definitely need a safety net. I like DJ Dallas, but I don't believe he'll be the starter. You kind of saw what Pete Carroll did with that situation when Chris Carson got hurt. And I think DJ Dallas will not be the starter, unfortunately. I like DJ Dallas, but I think Rashad Penny will be the starter there if he is Rashad Penny's healthy, and Chris Carson is hurt. And there is a weird scenario where Chris Carson is healthy and Rashad Penny's healthy, and Rashad Penny starts eating into some of that time. I think that is a very kind of that's reaching out there kind of for it, but I think that is a possibility. Realm of possibilities, right? Everything's a realm of possibility. All right, again, this is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. Dynasty Football Dad, one. This is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. Yeah, that's better. I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to stop mumbling and go to bed. All right, peace out. Now turn